You'll benefit from listening to this video. A simple step-by-step procedural approach to conflict resolution of complex conflict situation with various parties. It helps to achieve order and goal orientation in conflict resolution processes. Hi, welcome to Coach in Business and today's episode on the topic of conflict resolution. One of 11 episodes which are available on the topic of conflict resolution on my YouTube channel. Today we will talk about an approach based on 13 steps based on the context of teachers, which was developed by George, or in German Georg E. Becker. Becker described a pretty easy approach to conflict resolution based on a pretty complex and difficult situation, the context of schools, where we have many different scenarios of conflicts or possible conflicts. Conflicts can arise between different participants, for example, between teachers and teachers, between teachers and parents, between teachers and pupils, between parents and pupils, between pupils and pupils, between parents and parents, and if, for example, psychologists are involved, between psychologists and parents, etc., etc. So Becker, what he defined is a process, a model for solution finding, a processual approach. Let's get into the 13 steps. The first one is definition and description of the conflict. So first of all, you need to make sure, you need to have an analysis, a diagnosis of the conflict in itself. Describe the nature of the conflict, who is involved, what is the conflict about, how is the conflict developing, etc. Second step is describing the emotional influence of the conflict on the conflicting parties. So what are the consequences which are put on the conflicting parties when it comes to emotions? Do they fear the outcomes? If, for example, pupils are involved, do pupils fear to tell their parents, for example, about bad grades? Third step, raising the fact that the conflict exists. So what is important here? You need to be transparent to all the parties that the conflict exists, and all parties need to acknowledge that the conflict exists. Fourth, select conflict resolution mechanisms, which means that you need to present possible solutions. You need to present how a conflict can be resolved to all parties. Fifth, question the parties of the conflict in order to gather information. You need to have all the objective as well as all the subjective information from the parties involved in order to provide a possible solution. Step 6 and 7, research via various resources. So try to find out via third-party resources, via description videos, via third parties which may be involved within the school, for example, or other contexts, of course, within the work, and research information. Step 8, change the perspective. Make the people change the perspective to build up empathy and understanding. Changing the perspective means literally to stand in the shoes of the other side. So make sure that you get into the shoes of the other side. Make sure that you understand how the other side feels when, for example, they wake up in the morning and tell their partner and tell their children about the conflict. Make sure to understand what they might tell, what they might think, how they might behave, and how they might feel. Step 9. Find a common objective of conflict resolution. This is one of the most important points. You need to have a common objective, a common goal. If you have a common goal and you have shared resources, then both parties, conflicting parties, will be willing to work on the achievement of a common goal, because both will need to achieve the goal. Define a joint definition of possible courses of action. 11th, examine possible courses of action. So try to evaluate which courses of action might bring an outcome of win-win, so benefiting both parties. Then step 12, develop and implement an action plan. So this means that you need to become actionable. It's not just only in theory describing the conflict, making sure that everybody is involved, making sure that they have common goals, etc. Develop a plan, get into actions. And 13, evaluate the success of conflict resolution. So make sure that all parties are involved in describing whether the conflict has been resolved or not. Thank you for listening. I hope you liked it. I hope you liked the 13-step approach. Again, thank you for listening. I wish you a smile on your face every day, and see you next time. Bye-bye.